Happy New Year. Happy 2021. We have made it. We are out of 2020. And despite how I have thought about decades my entire life, we have just begun a brand new decade. That's right, 2020 was the end of the last decade. This is actually the beginning of the new decade. So we've got that all in the past, folks. And I thought today we would talk a little bit about goals, New Year's goals, and all that jazz, because, you know, January 1st is the time when people start thinking about those sorts of things. So let's listen to our intro, and then we're going to get into today's episode.
You're listening to the Wellness Simplified podcast. Simple wellness tips to help you improve your life without turning it upside down. With your host, award-winning fitness instructor, nutrition coach, and wellness expert, Susie Fevens.
So you're probably thinking, why even bother making any goals? Because I made goals last year and we only made it partway through March when everything just went out the window. And that might be true. You may feel like goal setting is a foolish or fruitless task in a world that is still, unfortunately, still in a state of emergency. We're hopefully starting to see maybe the end of it with the vaccine starting to come out, but we really don't know. We don't know what 2021 is going to hold, just like we didn't know what 2020 was going to hold. And that right there is the exact reason why we don't give up. Okay, we don't know. We didn't know 2020 was going to be the mess that it was. You remember back in the fall of 2019 where that meme was going around and they were like, in October, there is a full moon and the time change, and Halloween is on a Saturday and Christmas is on a Friday and New Year's Eve is on a Friday. Like 2020 is going to be so awesome. And guess what? Guess what happened? We don't know. We don't know what the year is going to hold. And we don't know what our life is going to hold. But does that prevent you from doing things to move you further ahead? Do you just say, well, I don't know, I could die tomorrow, so why even bother? Why even bother? And maybe some of you do. Hopefully not. Maybe some of you do. But the point is, the only consistent thing in life is change. And whether we like change or don't, we know this. Because life is forever changing. And our plans have to change and our goals have to change. But that doesn't mean that we don't set goals. So a lot of things obviously changed for me in 2020. My day-to-day business looks very, very different than it did a year ago. Did I achieve my goals that I had set financially? Absolutely not. And ironically, January of 2020 was the best month I had had as a self-employed person. And I was like, I am going to hit these goals this year. Like, it's going to happen. Like, my classes in person were going well. I had launched an online program in January. It was a 3-month program. So I had a lot of income come from that. And then February came along. And February is typically the worst snowstorm month for us here in Nova Scotia. And that held true last February. I canceled so many classes and I brought in very little income through fitness classes. And I didn't have any income coming from my online because people paid in January for 3 months. And then in February also, my nutrition coaching job, they gave me a raise and then they cut back my pay. Why did you give me the raise if you were just going to cut? Anyway, whatever. And then in March, of course, everything shut down. I quit my nutrition coaching job because then they weren't going to pay me at all for a few weeks. And I went from having the best month I ever had in January to basically not making anything. That's not completely accurate. I was still bringing in some income, but it was just enough income to pay my business expenses, to literally keep the doors open. And so yeah, financial goals did not happen in 2020. I had to shut everything down in August and into the beginning of September while I revamped everything to go into this virtual space as my primary fitness studio. And then my in-person classes are now just kind of like the side gig, whereas the previous decade, it was the other way around. It was always in-person was everything, virtual was a little side thing. So it's been a year of upheaval. Let's just say that. And I don't know where 2021 is going to go. Does that mean I'm not going to set some goals? Just because I didn't meet those financial goals last year, does that mean I'm not going to try and set some this year? Absolutely not. I am still going to do that. But those are not the goals that I want to talk about. I want to talk about your just general lifestyle goals that you might have. So what I'm talking about is things like wanting to get healthier, wanting to get in better shape, wanting to lose weight, wanting to save more money, wanting to pay off debt. What are some other big ones? Wanting to get organized, like purging your house, all of those sorts of things. So if any of those types of goals are already in your mind, I want you to dig a little bit deeper. All right. I want you to not say that in 2020, I want to lose 15 pounds. That's not what I want your goal to be. What I want you to think about is, why do you want to lose that 15 pounds? What is losing that 15 pounds going to do for you? And you might say, well, it's going to make me feel better about myself. I'm going to have higher self-esteem. I'll fit into my clothes more easily. It'll make me healthier. Hopefully. Things like that. Okay. So instead of making your goal to lose 15 pounds, what if we made your goal to feel better in your clothes? What if we made your goal to have higher self-esteem? Maybe losing that 15 pounds would help you achieve that. But a lot of times we get stuck in one of those, once I do blank, then I'll be happy. Once I pay off that credit card, then I'll be happy. Once I lose 15 pounds, then I'll be happy. Once I get married, once I have a baby, once I blank, then I'll be happy. Well, what if you worked on being happy first? What if you flipped that around? Once I'm happy, maybe then it'll be easier for me to lose 15 pounds, or maybe I won't care about it. If I'm happy, maybe I won't feel compelled to buy stuff because I feel lonely or sad and I just keep getting further in debt. Maybe if I was happy, I would be healthier because I wouldn't be trying to hide or eat away my feelings. I don't know. We've gone a little bit down a dark hole here. But instead of that blank, then I will be happy. What if happiness was the original goal? We get the thing in front of the feeling. We think about the thing before we think about the feeling. And I want you to bring your feelings to the forefront. I want you to think about your core feelings that you want to have in 2021. If you want to feel happy, if you want to feel secure, if you want to feel freedom financially, if you want to feel healthy, that is the feeling that you want. What things do you need to do to get there? Because let me tell you this, on that 15-pound example, you don't know. You don't know that when you lose 15 pounds, that's going to be the place where you are finally happy with your body, you feel good about yourself, you have higher self-esteem, that your clothes fit. You may find that after losing 4.5 pounds, that your clothes fit perfectly and you think, man, I look amazing when I look in the mirror. And you feel proud of yourself, you feel strong. But then you didn't make your goal because you only lost 4.5 pounds, not 15. But if your goal was that core feeling of happiness or higher self-esteem, self-worth, then it doesn't matter how much you gained or lost as long as you've achieved your end goal, which was the happiness. So, this is what I want you to think about. Do you need to set goals for the new year? Absolutely not. Do you need to set an intention for the year? No. Do you need to set a word of the year? No. But what I think is really valuable is if you look at what your core desired feelings are. And yes, I'm drawing some of this from Danielle Laporte's Desire Map, but you don't have to read her book or get into her teachings or philosophy or thoughts or however you want to describe them in order to put this into practice. You can do it just based on what I've shared here. Instead of the thing, focus on the feeling or the emotion. So last year, in a coaching call with my business coach, Nicole Culver, it was a group call, we talked about what would you do if you hit your financial goals? Like, what would be that first thing that you would do? And I said, I would go out and I'd buy myself an espresso machine. And she looked at me and she said, Susie, how much does an espresso machine cost? And I was like, I don't know, like $250. And she says, make a plan right now to buy that machine before the end of this year. I was like, She's like, you don't need to hit a huge milestone to have something like that. You just need to make a plan for it. So I did, and I just saved my birthday and my Christmas money, and I was very fortunate that some of my clients were very kind to me last year, and I got a bit of a bigger collection of Christmas money than I normally would. And on Boxing Day, baby, I bought that espresso machine, and I am so thankful every day that I have it. If you've read my post on things that made 2020 more tolerable, you'll know that Nespresso machine is there. But that's just an example of my idea of success was so tied to having an espresso machine, which I realize sounds ridiculous. But for me, that was a splurge, something that I wouldn't normally spend on myself. $250 for a coffee maker? Like, are you nuts? But she wanted me to get the feeling of you're already successful, you already deserve it, make a plan and make it happen. So I did. And that's the interesting thing I find with business and wellness coaching, sometimes I do business coaching, but usually I'm the receiver. And then wellness coaching, I'm usually the giver of the information. But it goes back and forth so well. It's so interconnected that way that I can take information that was given to me on a business side of things and revamp it for wellness. So that's what I'm doing here is I don't want you to set your goals to be physical numbers and dates and markers in your day planner. I want you to think about those emotions. What does success look like for you? In whatever your goal spectrum is, whether you're talking about health, whether you're talking about your own personal finances, your personal relationships, whatever it is, instead of focusing on the number, I need to pay off $15,000, I need to lose 15 pounds, I need to go on 3 dates a week, I don't know, whatever it is, what is that feeling I want? I want the feeling of financial security. I want the feeling that I am comfortable and happy in my own skin. I want to feel like I'm in a good, healthy relationship. You could go on 1 date and achieve that. You could just cut back on some of your subscriptions, your monthly subscriptions, and find financial security depending on your situation. You may gain 10 pounds and feel healthier and stronger and more comfortable in your skin than you would if you had lost. The number isn't the thing. Figure out what the thing is, and that's what your goal should be, to find more of that in 2021. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. I know this was a little bit, a little woo-woo, a little bit heavy, a little all over the place, but I hope I've conveyed my message in a way that you can take something away from this and hopefully apply it as you're thinking about 2021. Because yes, 2020 was a bit of a dumpster fire. We don't know what 2021 holds. That doesn't mean that you can't work toward your core desired feelings. If you want to be happy, figure out what things you can start doing to bring yourself towards that. Maybe that is losing 15 pounds or saving more money or whatever. But don't make that the thing, make that the benefit of the feeling. When you achieve that feeling, those other things will fall into place, not the other way around. How many times have you met somebody who or have been somebody who wanted to lose weight just to be happy, and then they found out that they lost weight and they still weren't happy because they never, ever addressed the thing that was really causing their unhappiness. That's it for today, January 1st, 2021. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I really and truly appreciate it. I've got lots of great things up my sleeve, or non-sleeve, because I'm usually in a tank top, for 2021, and I'm so delighted to have you along for the ride. Make sure that you are following me on Instagram and Twitter if you're on there at Susie Confesses. The link is also in the description below. As well, you can get a hold of my paid and free programs over on welluniversity.ca, and you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/confessions of a fitness instructor, and my blog, of course, is confessionsofaFitnessInstructor.com. That is it for today. Go off, be merry, enjoy the beginning of January, figure out what those core feelings you want for 2021 are. Forget about the numbers, figure out the feelings. And then, if you want to, share them with me because I would love to hear. Thank you again. I've already said that 4 times, but I mean it so much. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you next week.